You are listening to WZ Tales. This story is about a man whose fiancée chose her male best friend over him in a real emergency, and what happened when he decided to show her exactly how that felt. As you listen, ask yourself whether you agree with how he handled it in the end. My fiancé said, "I won't cancel on Arlo for you." I replied, "I'm not going to be second place." Then I matched her energy, cut off my money, took back the house, and I just watched as one fever, one broken-down car, and one best friend's new girlfriend exposed exactly where I ranked. My name is Joel, and I have been with my fiancée, Megan, for almost 4 years. We got engaged 8 months ago. I work as an operations engineer at a chemical plant. Rotating shifts, decent pay, not glamorous, but steady. I grew up poor, put myself through community college and then state school, worked my way up. I own my house outright. The only debt I have is my truck payment. Megan does freelance social media marketing and is trying to build herself as a content creator. She has around 2,000 Instagram followers. About a year ago, she moved into my place. She does not pay rent or utilities. We agreed that she would focus on building her brand while I covered the bills. I was fine with that. I loved her, and I believed supporting your partner's dreams meant more than just words. Megan also has a male best friend named Arlo. He plays guitar at small gigs around town and does personal training part-time. Nice enough guy when I met him, but his income is basically nothing. He and Megan have been friends since college. I am not the jealous type. I have a close female friend myself, Joanna. We have known each other for over 10 years. She has her own boyfriend, and we have very clear boundaries. We grab coffee, talk about work, totally platonic. So I get that opposite-sex friendships can exist. But Arlo felt different. He was at our house constantly. He and Megan went to coffee shops to brainstorm content ideas. They FaceTimed late at night. They went to concerts together, usually on my dime, since Megan used my credit card for tickets and outfits. I tried to be cool about it. I did not want to be the controlling guy who bans friends. Sometimes people confuse being chill with ignoring obvious patterns. That was my first mistake. About 3 months ago, I finally sat her down. I said, "Look, I am not asking you to stop being friends with Arlo, but when I am sick or something important is going on, I need to know I am your priority. That is what partners do." She agreed. She said I was being totally reasonable and promised it would not be a problem. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago. I came down with brutal food poisoning or some kind of stomach flu. Fever of 103. Could not keep anything down. Sweating through my sheets. I called out of work, which I almost never do. My doctor's office told me to monitor it, and that if I could not keep fluids down, I needed to go to urgent care for Roman IV fluids. That same night, Megan had tickets to an outdoor music festival with Arlo. VIP tickets I had paid for weeks earlier as an early birthday present for her. She had bought a new outfit. They had been planning it for a month. Around 4 in the afternoon, I was lying in bed, feeling like death. I told her, "Hey, I really need you to stay home tonight. If this gets worse, I cannot drive myself to urgent care. I am barely making it to the bathroom." She looked at me and said, "Arlo has been looking forward to this for a month. I cannot just bail on him at the last minute. You are an adult. It is just a stomach bug. You will be fine tomorrow." I just looked at her and said, "I understand." I did not argue. I did not beg. I did not make a scene. In that moment, I understood exactly where I stood. She left at 5:30. Later, she posted Instagram stories of her and Arlo dancing, jumping around, having the time of their lives. Meanwhile, my temperature climbed to 104. I was getting dizzy and shaky. Around 9 at night, I ordered an Uber to take me to urgent care because I was getting dangerously dehydrated. I sat in the waiting room for 2 hours, got 2 bags of Roman IV fluids and anti-nausea meds, and came home around 1 in the morning to an empty house. She rolled in at 2:30, smelling like beer and cigarettes, and crashed into bed without really looking at me. The next morning, she was full of apologies. "I am so sorry, babe. I know that was messed up, but it was just one time and Arlo would have been so disappointed. I will make it up to you, I promise. I said, "It is okay," and went to make coffee, but I did not feel okay. You can forgive someone's words, but your body remembers how alone you felt in that waiting room. From that night on, I was different, not yelling, not picking fights, just distant, quiet, doing what needed to be done but emotionally checked out. I realized something very clearly. When I actually needed her, she chose Arlo. The next day, I told Joanna about it over coffee. She looked at me and said, "If my boyfriend did that to me, we would be done. You at least need to tell her how bad that was." But I was not planning to tell Megan anything. I felt like me explaining had never really landed before. Instead, I started thinking. Part of me wanted to walk away immediately. Another part of me wanted her to feel exactly what she made me feel. A few weeks went by. Megan went into full make-it-up-to-you mode. She was extra affectionate, cooked dinner more than usual, offered massages the whole performance. I was polite but distant. When she asked, "Are you mad at me?" I kept saying, "No, I am just tired from work," which was partly true. We were short-staffed and I was pulling double shifts. Then the situation I had been waiting for basically created itself. On a Friday, Megan had a huge pitch meeting scheduled for Monday morning. A potential client, an organic skin care brand she had found on Instagram. If she landed it, it would be her first real paying client in months. Real money, not free products. She had been prepping all week. Slides, mock posts, strategy notes. She was stressed but excited. Friday evening around 8, she called me in a panic. Her car had broken down on the highway about 30 minutes from our house. It was pouring rain and cold. She was on the shoulder with her hazard lights on. "Joel, I am stuck on Route 9 and my car just died. It will not start. I need you to come get me, and we need to figure out how to get my car towed tonight because I need it for Monday's meeting. I am scared and cold. Please." Here is the thing. I was literally about to walk out the door. Joanna and I had plans to check out a new craft brewery downtown. We had made those plans a week earlier because her dad had just been diagnosed with early-stage Parkinson's, and she needed a night to decompress. We were going to grab dinner, try some flights, and let her vent. I could have canceled. I could have gone and picked up Megan, called a tow truck, handled everything. I chose not to. I said, "I understand this is stressful, but Joanna has been looking forward to tonight all week. I cannot let her down at the last minute. You are an adult. Call roadside assistance, get a tow, grab an Uber home. You will figure it out." There was a long silence. "Are you seriously doing this to me right now? My career is on the line." "It is just a car breakdown, Megan. You will be fine. These things happen. Handle it like an adult." I used almost the exact words she had used when I was shaking with a fever. "Joel, are you doing this to get back at me? I am just treating you exactly how you showed me partners treat each other when something comes up." Then I hung up and went to meet Joanna. Some people will hear this and think, this is where he went too far. Others will say, this was the only way she would ever understand. The brewery night was actually good. Joanna could tell something was off, so I told her everything. She shook her head and said, "I get why you did it, but this is going to blow up later." She was right. I got home around 11:30. Megan was sitting on the couch in the dark. Her car was still on the highway. She had left it there and taken a $70 Uber home. She was furious. "How could you do that to me, to your fiancé? I had a huge meeting Monday and you just abandoned me on the side of the road." I sat down across from her. "How could you leave me alone when I had a 104-degree fever and needed someone to take me to urgent care, to your fiancé? That is different. You were just sick. People get sick all the time. My entire career opportunity was on the line. I was literally dehydrated to the point of needing Roman IV fluids, Megan. I could barely stand. You chose Arlo and a concert. I chose Joanna and plans we already had. What is the difference?" She started crying, saying I was cruel, that I did it on purpose to hurt her, that I was supposed to love her. I let her finish. "You are right. I did do it on purpose so you would understand. For 4 years you have been my priority. I have canceled plans, rearranged shifts, spent my money to support you. The one time I needed you, you picked Arlo. So yes, I wanted you to feel what that feels like." We argued like that for hours. She said I was holding a grudge, that she had apologized, that two wrongs do not make a right. Finally, around 2 in the morning, I said what had been sitting in the back of my mind for weeks. If you need a man who will always put your male best friend's feelings ahead of his own needs, I am not that guy. And starting right now, I am going to prepare for a life without you. She went quiet and asked what I meant. I am opening my own bank account. You are coming off my credit cards. I am not paying for your content expenses anymore, or your fancy gym membership, or anything else. We are going back to roommates who split bills. If you want to be engaged to me, you are going to have to show me that I matter more than Arlo. Otherwise, we are done. She spent the rest of the weekend either crying or yelling, called me manipulative, said I was punishing her for one mistake. On Sunday, she went to Arlo to vent about our fight. Guess what he told her? She came home and told me, still crying. Arlo had said, maybe Joel has a point. I do not want to be the reason you two are fighting. Maybe you should have stayed home that night. Even Arlo thought she was wrong. Later that same day, she had another crisis. Her laptop died completely. It would not turn on. This was the laptop with all her client files and her pitch presentation. She needed to rebuild her presentation and needed a computer fast. She called Arlo. He has a nice gaming setup and she had borrowed his equipment before. Hey, my laptop died and I am freaking out. Can I come over and use your computer to rebuild my presentation? His answer was, that sucks, but my girlfriend is coming over in 20 minutes and we have dinner reservations. She is not really comfortable with me having female friends over. Can you try the library or ask Joel? Megan pushed. This is an emergency, Arlo. I have been there for you so many times. I know, but my relationship has to come first now. I am sure you understand. She told me this through tears on Sunday night. The irony was impossible to miss. The guy she had prioritized over her fiancé was now telling her that his girlfriend's comfort mattered more than her crisis. As for the pitch meeting, she missed it. She was too stressed about the car, the laptop, and our fight to rebuild the presentation. She tried to reschedule. The client moved on to someone else. We stayed under the same roof, but it turned into a cold roommate situation. She slept in the guest room. I picked up extra shifts to avoid being home. The financial separation hit her hard. I had been covering more than either of us realized. Her car insurance, her phone bill, her health insurance through my work, groceries, utilities, business expenses for her content. When I took her off my accounts, she had to face her real income. Turns out 2,000 followers does not pay the bills. She took on random freelance gigs to cover her half of the utilities. Canceled her expensive gym membership. Stopped going to pricey coffee shops for content. Reality started to catch up. Meanwhile, things with Arlo fell apart too. His relationship got serious, and he told Megan he needed boundaries with female friends. Translation, he did not need her attention anymore now that he had a girlfriend who wanted him. She was crushed. She kept saying, I thought we were best friends. He was supposed to be there for me. I kept my mouth shut, but I could not help thinking, yeah, I thought the same about you. About a week later, we finally had the real conversation. I got home from a double shift around 10 at night. She was waiting in the living room. We need to talk about where this is going. I sat down and let her speak. She said she had been thinking a lot, that she had taken me for granted, that she did not realize how much she had prioritized Arlo over me until she felt what it was like when I did the same thing with Joanna, that losing the client opportunity made her see how much my support had held her life up. I waited for the word but, because there is always a but. But I think what you did was cruel. You deliberately left me stranded to prove a point. That is not what people who love each other do. You are right. It was deliberate and it was a lesson, because explaining with words did not work. You did not understand until you felt it. So you admit you were trying to hurt me. No, I was trying to make you understand. There is a difference. We went back and forth like that. Then I said what I had been holding in for a long time. Megan, you always talk about how family and partnership should be the top priority. But when it came down to it, your priority was Arlo, not the man you were planning to marry. The night I had a 103-degree fever and was throwing up, you chose a concert. You and I had those VIP tickets for a month. Joanna and I had our plans for a week. Before that night, how many times did I cancel on Joanna or rearrange my schedule for you? Dozens, maybe more. What is your number with me versus Arlo? She cried. I know I messed up that night, Joel, I know, but you deliberately made me feel that same pain just to get even. I did it so you would understand because you clearly did not from me just telling you. She wiped her eyes. So what now? You made your point. Where does that leave us? I took off my engagement ring and set it on the coffee table between us. I have been thinking about this a lot. This ring is supposed to represent a promise that we prioritize each other, build a life together, be there for each other. But what we have is not a partnership. It is a one-sided deal where I provide everything and you chase your dreams on my dime while keeping another man as your emotional priority. That is not fair, she said. That is not fair. It is completely fair. Look at our life. I pay for the house. I support your content career that does not pay yet. I accept your male best friend. And when I needed you once, you were not there. That is not a fiancé. That is a dependent with benefits. The silence after that was heavy. Do you even love me anymore? She asked. Honestly, I have been asking myself that. I love who I thought you were, but I do not respect who you actually are, and I cannot marry someone I do not respect. That was basically the end. We agreed she would move out by the end of the month. The house is in my name, so there was not much to argue legally. She called her sister 2 states away and arranged to stay with her until she figured things out. She started packing the next day. A couple of days later, she showed me a text thread with Arlo, where she confronted him about backing away. His answer was, "My girlfriend is not comfortable with me being that close with other women. Boundaries are important." She looked at me and said, "He was my best friend for years and he just dropped me." I almost felt bad for her. Almost. Then I remembered sitting in the urgent care waiting room alone and the sympathy faded. "Yeah," I said. "It hurts when someone you count on shows you where you actually rank, does it not?" She moved out the next weekend, took her things, left her key on the counter. Her sister helped her drive. There were no dramatic speeches, just a quiet take care of yourself from both of us. The house felt different after that, quieter, but it was not a sad quiet. It felt peaceful, like I could finally breathe without wondering if I was going to come second to her best friend again. I went back to hanging out with Joanna like normal, without guilt. She just listened when I needed to talk and did not push. Some people might say what I did was petty. Maybe it was, but I know this much. Without that mirror moment on the highway, Megan would have kept seeing that night at the concert as just a mistake. A year passed. About 5 months ago, I started seeing someone new. Her name is Grace. She is one of the most self-sufficient people I have ever dated. She owns her own condo, pays her own bills, has her own friends. She does not need me to fund her lifestyle or validate every decision. We split dates. She has her life together, I have mine. We actually enjoy each other instead of trying to fix each other. She has met Joanna. They get along fine. No jealousy. No weird energy, just 2 adults who understand that opposite-sex friendships can exist with respect. Joanna's dad is managing his Parkinson's as well as he can. She has support around her. I am glad I was there for her that night instead of dealing with Megan's car. As for Megan, I had not heard from her for months until a few weeks ago when she sent me an email, not a text, a full email. She told me she is working full-time at a marketing firm now. She gave up the content creator dream. She lives with a roommate in a cheaper city near her sister. She is single. Arlo has been completely out of her life for more than 8 months. His girlfriend asked for distance, and he chose his relationship. The main point of her email was to apologize properly. She said living without my financial and emotional support made her realize how much she had taken advantage of me. She said she finally understood why I had left her on the side of the road that night. "At the time," she wrote, "I thought you were being cruel. But after Arlo abandoned me the second it became inconvenient, I realized I had done the same thing to you except worse, because you were actually sick. You were not being cruel. You were showing me what I had shown you, that I was willing to leave you when you needed me. She wrote that she wished I had just broken up with her instead of making her feel that pain, but admitted she probably would not have learned the lesson otherwise. She said she did not expect us to get back together or even be friends. She just wanted me to know she was different now and that whoever I ended up with was lucky. I sat with that email for a couple of days before replying. I wrote back, "Megan, I appreciate you reaching out and being honest. I am glad you understand now. I do not resent you anymore. That anger is gone, but I also do not want to revisit what we had. You taught me an important lesson too. When someone shows you where you rank in their priorities, believe them. You showed me I ranked below Arlo and I believed it. I hope you prioritize differently in your next relationship. I am doing well with someone who values me. That is all I needed. Take care of yourself." She replied with a simple, "Thank you for everything, Joel. I really do wish you happiness." That was it. Clean closure. Not long ago, I ran into Arlo once. He actually approached me. He said his new girlfriend had made him realize he had been using female friends for attention, that it was not healthy. He apologized for being part of the problem in my relationship. He seemed genuinely remorseful. I appreciated it. But for me, it was all water under the bridge. These days, when Grace has a rough day teaching, I bring her favorite takeout without her asking. When I am dealing with a stressful shift, she checks in on me. We show up for each other in small ways constantly. There is no scorekeeping. No competition with a best friend. No wondering if I matter, I just know I do. Here are some of the lessons I take from all of this. Lesson 1. When someone shows you that you are not their priority in a crisis, believe them. Emergencies reveal what normal days can hide. Lesson 2. Opposite-sex friendships can be healthy, but if your partner keeps putting that friend above you in important moments, that is a problem, not a quirk. Lesson 3. Financial support without emotional respect is not a real partnership. If one person carries everything while the other treats them as optional, something is broken. Lesson 4. Sometimes mirroring someone's behavior does teach them a hard truth, but it also shows you whether the relationship can survive. If you have to teach basic empathy, the foundation is already weak. Lesson 5. You do not have to stay and compete with your partner's fantasy or ego boost. It is okay to walk away when you are treated like a backup instead of a partner. Lesson 6. The right person will not make you wonder where you rank. You will see it in how they show up, especially when it is inconvenient. What about you? After that night in urgent care, what would you have done in Joel's place? Do you think he was wrong to mirror Megan's behavior, or was that the only way she would understand? Share your thoughts in the comments.